Well, hello, good evening. Welcome. This is Ghana Tonight. We're live from Manisha Bata Desawe Kanda, also live on TV3 Ghana on Facebook and on DSTV channel 279. We're all across the world on 3news.com. I am Alfred Ocansey. Tonight, the state has dropped the case against the sole accused in the murder of investigative journalist Ahmed Suale. We have details on why the Office of the Attorney General recommended against pursuing this particular prosecution, but the family has questions. Stay with us. We have an exclusive interview with the head of the family of the late Ahmed Suale on Ghana Tonight. Also, the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat, NIMOS Task Force, has raided mining sites in the eastern region as part of ongoing efforts to combat illegal mining, also known as Galamsey. We have the full details for you. But then again, beyond this, what next? Question. Tonight, Moody's ratings raises Ghana's sovereign credit rating, citing improved prospects for debt reduction. What does this mean for the Ghanaian economy largely, and especially after we're seeing the rebound of the city? How will this also influence the external investor market, and looking at how things are playing out? Stay with us here on Ghana Tonight, including this and more. A lawsuit against the government of Ghana. Stay with us. We're going to give you some details of that. We're hearing of a fire outbreak as well on the Spintex Road, a major fire outbreak. We understand 6 fire tenders have been deployed and are attending to the fire as we speak. Stay with us. We'll give you an update on this fire outbreak on the Spintex Road, a warehouse that's been razed down by a blazing fire as we speak. As always, you're an integral part of the conversation. Let's hear from you. The hashtag we're using is Ghana Tonight on Facebook and on X. Let's get talking. Let's settle for Ghana Briefs.
The Medina District Court has discharged the prime suspect in the murder of investigative journalist Ahmed Suale. Daniel Owusu-Kranting, an investigative journalist, had been charged with abetment of murder and murder in connection with the killing of Ahmed Suale. He pleaded not guilty and was on a 50,000 Ghana cedis bail. Counsel for Owusu, led by Emma John Markin, expressed satisfaction at the development but chastised the prosecution.
I think that we were abandoning things that happened 2019, which is something that we cannot do in this matter. In 2019, when this issue happened, a lot of things happened. Several arrests have been made. Have we ever heard of anybody being paraded around the way Daniel Owusu-Kranting was paraded around? Has it ever been heard? But there have been several arrests. If there was more work done, like the way some media houses were saying FBI investigations, it would certainly not be pointing at my clients, because you would have known that the gentleman was all the time in the country.
The minority in Parliament has kicked against assertions by the Health Minister that the past government is responsible for the high numbers of unpaid nurses and midwives in the country. Ranking member on the Health Committee, Dr. Ayu Efriye, says a financial clearance was granted for over 15,000 health workers, criticizing government for what he describes as leadership failure.
This clearance expired on the 31st December, item 7. Now, in normal public administration and civil service of this country, financial clearances expire. Even under this government, they will have financial clearances expire and they will go for extension. They did not extend this for political reasons. And then 10 months down, they faced an embarrassment where the students or the staff went on a public agitation, demonstration, to draw your mind to this clearance and the need for extension. Embarrassing enough, you are saying that you've taken it to cabinet for an approval. What sort of cabinet do you have to take for an approval when you have a clearance already?
The Vice President, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, has urged residents living along the Volta Lake to ensure the wearing of life jackets anytime they want to cross the lake. She has, on behalf of government, given over 600 life jackets to the people. The Vice President was in Okuman, where a canoe capsized, resulting in the loss of lives of 15 people, 11 of whom were children.
Na bibi nso ho yedu bebi a genya me no bem nti ebesre ye nyina yankambom na sade mpanifo nso kanara chiche de ye geneni.
Let us all support and work together to ensure this type of accident becomes a thing of the past.
Enam yobobo ya ne ade wonsu no so no ko bi betenemu a na ya hwese ohyebi.
The owners of canoes and other commercial transport leaders should always ensure people wear the life jackets. We will bring more of them to ensure everyone gets to use them.
Government has approved the release of over 1 billion cedis to settle the outstanding salaries of some teachers and professionals. Just a few weeks ago, the groups picketed at the Ministries of Education and Health in demand of over 8 months' salary arrears. In response, the ministries promised swift action, and now the Minister of Education, Haruna Idrisu, has confirmed that the government has committed over 1 billion cedis to pay the affected workers.
So those 6,200 teachers, I think I can speak for both ministries in this matter. Cabinet gave the Minister of Finance approval to via budget and spend upon about 1.1 billion Ghana cedis to absorb a category of health workers and teachers. The process will start soon, and therefore no more picketing.
The Ghanaian cedi has strengthened sharply, gaining over 1 Ghana cedi against the US dollar in a month to trade around 11 cedis 40 pesos on the markets. Analysts attribute the rebound to the Bank of Ghana's $1.15 billion forex injection and reduced import pressure ahead of the festive season. With foreign reserves now at $10.7 billion, covering 4.5 months of imports, the move is expected to stabilize prices and sustain confidence in the currency through the Christmas period.
As more news on 3news.com. Make some time and visit 3news.com. This is Ghana Tonight. We're live on 3FM 92.7, also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook and on DSTV channel 279. We're all across the world on 3news.com. If you want to share your thoughts, views, comments, and opinions with us, we're also streaming on YouTube on 3 News as well as on Facebook as well. And this is Ghana Tonight. Coming up next, State drops cases in Ahmed Suale's murder. Attorney General explains why prosecution was halted. We've got full details for you on this matter here on Ghana Tonight, and especially how things are playing out, with some reactions as well from the family on the developments in there here on Ghana Tonight. Share your thoughts, views, comments, and opinions with us. We'll read it out to you and to the rest of the world, especially because of how this matter has played out over the period and also the reactions after today's development in court. Well, the Medina District Court has discharged the sole accused person in the murder of investigative journalist Ahmed Suale. Daniel, also granting as an investigative journalist himself, had been charged with abetment of murder in connection with the murder of Ahmed Suale. He pleaded not guilty and was on a 50,000 cedis bail. But today, this development means he gets to walk as a free man. Now, our court correspondent, Lord Edwasari, spoke to the lawyer of Daniel Kranting, and she was clear in her words that right from the get-go, there was no reason why her client, actually went through all of this ordeal to this moment. Take a look.
If you ask me, I have a bittersweet emotion towards the whole thing, especially since, I was there with him from the beginning. We are actually a team of lawyers. We're about 5 lawyers handling Daniel Ocansey, different aspects of his matter. And it was a very difficult period, knowing fully well that certain allegations were made, and then you know that no, it cannot be, because I know this person, I saw him here, we did this was done, so how can this be? Especially with the accusation that he was out of the country. That was one issue that we were like, this man was here, he's been in all our offices for years. We are handling matters for him in court. We have personally given him vehicles to go and people to go to meetings with government institutions. He works closely with the police. I have been there with him in police stations, several police stations. So, and he has traveled in and out of the country in where I'm aware. In fact, in 2024, I think it was about 4 times. We have all these things to prove that this person was never and could never be a fugitive of justice.
So he was always coordinating with the prosecution? Or cooperating with the prosecution?
I would say so. I would say so. I think in the last part, he was invited. And I had an emergency, so we could not appear. Shortly after he was arrested. Yes, I think that was also a small lapse on our part that has cost this gentleman quite a lot. So when I say it's a bittersweet moment, because of, even after after the arrest and after his bail, he's even having to seek medical attention. He's had a lot of emotional trauma. It's not been easy, even for us as lawyers. I think it was a non-starter. I think that we were abandoning things that happened 2019, which is something that we cannot do in this matter. In 2019, when this issue happened, a lot of things happened. Several arrests have been made. Have we ever heard of anybody being paraded around the way Daniel Ocansey was paraded around? Has it ever been heard? But there have been several arrests. You understand what I mean? So it was shocking and surprising to everybody. I won't say, I cannot speak for somebody and their work, but from where I sit, I feel like as if I know there had to be more work to be done. And if there was more work done, like the way some media houses were saying FBI investigations, it would certainly not be pointing at my clients, because you would have known that the gentleman was all the time in the country, except for 1 week, 2 weeks when he was out of the country, doing other investigative works. I think it's a bit of the two. Because I feel like Ahmed Suale was a friend to Daniel Ocansey. They were very good friends. I never heard of Ahmed really, but I knew a little bit of information on the media. But whenever I spoke to Daniel and he recalled his days, he always used to mention Ahmed. So I was surprised when all of a sudden a bosom friend now becomes the accused. You get what I mean? So I think for Ahmed, the delay in actually looking in the right direction, I think that this thing has nothing to do with pictures. I think it has nothing to do with pictures. Because if we are going to go along the picture line, then this man's image should not be anywhere. But he was front-facing in all investigations, using his name, using his face. I'm sure you recall Kwesi Nanchesi's wife even saying that she met with him. So there are several people who know that what he looks like. He has a Facebook page. You see him in some of the documentaries. They say Ahmed. Then you see Ahmed in the back there with a camera. So to me, I'm just wondering why. Why must the person die because of pictures? Those pictures are a non-starter in this case, in this particular case. So what we have to be looking is casting our net wide. There were eyewitnesses who saw who these assailants were. We cannot throw that away. We can never throw that away because eyewitnesses see the people. And it looks nothing like Daniel Osu. And for me, if you tell me that somebody's call records show that he was in the area, I will laugh. I will laugh simply because if I was once even driving towards Peduasi to go and see a client of mine, and then my phone says, my iPhone says that you have left your other iPhone behind at Dome Kwabenya when I am en route to Peduasi and my phone is even in the bag. You understand? So, I mean, for a matter this serious and a matter of such grave importance, not just in Ghana, but all over the world, it should be beyond reasonable doubt, one conclusion that this and this or these people are the people who did it and no others. You understand? And no others. It cannot just be, okay, he was in the area, he was, what is that? For murder? For murder? It cannot be.
Well, so it's a lengthy, very important and an exclusive engagement that we had with Emma Jane Markin, who is the lead counsel for the now free Daniel Kranting. And as a matter of fact, she stated something in this exclusive interview that my colleague, legal affairs correspondent Lodo Dosari, had with her, that there were eyewitnesses who saw the assailants, and that should not be ignored in this matter going forward. And none of the said eyewitnesses saw the assailant say there was anybody who looked like this gentleman, Daniel Kranting, who has been freed today. What next after this development, especially for the family of Ahmed Suale? And you recall that when this gentleman was picked up about 5 months ago, this case has been running. The Ghana Journalists Association and others issued statement commending the Ghana Police Service for this development, only for this outcome today in court. Stay with us. We have a conversation exclusively with the head of the spokesperson for Ahmed Suale's family. So we're going to get into it. But Dennis Pabewadam Esquire is with me. He's been following this case and how things played out in court earlier today. It's a very troubling development, at least for the family of the late Ahmed Suale. It's not looking good.
Especially when you put it within the context that this is a cold case. It's been since 2019. That's all 6 years now. And just when a suspect was picked up, I mean, there seemed not to be any progress in respect of this particular case. But of course, the reasons for which the accused person has been discharged is because the Attorney General's office has given an advice, which is very usual of some of these things. You would see that when this person was picked up, they put the person before the district court, even though the person was not going to be tried in the district court, for what they call the committal proceedings. As part of the committal proceedings, they needed to forward a docket to the Attorney General's office to examine and give an advice on the way forward. That examination will include the kind of evidence that the police have been able to gather or investigations have been able to unravel. Then an assessment is made as to whether the evidence on record will be enough to continue with prosecution or otherwise. So what we are learning is that on the totality of what the investigation has been able to gather or prosecution has been able to gather, for which they forwarded to Attorney General, the Attorney General's office is of the view that the evidence available is not enough to ground this accused person in respect of the charge of murder. And just so to give you some excerpts of what has been happening, particularly in relation to the kind of evidence that prosecution was dealing with, they were actually dealing with phone records of the accused person. That is to say, the prosecution makes the case that as part of their investigations, they were able to identify that the accused person's phone was within the vicinity of the place where the murder took place.
It's around the Medina
That's
area.
around the Medina Queen of Peace enclave. And that is what they were working with. But let's see how the Attorney General's office addresses that point about phone records, aside the fact that the office makes the observation that what they presented was just an extract from a whole record, which by itself is not complete. Beyond that, they also point out to the fact that the call records placed the accused person's phone in the vicinity where the deceased was killed. That, however, the presence of the accused person in the vicinity, based on his phone's location alone, is not sufficient to charge him with the murder of the deceased.
Right.
That is to say, granted that even the accused person's phone was in the vicinity at the time the incident happened, that alone, without more, is not enough to charge him with the offense of murder. They go on to indicate that though it is stated in the police report dated 30th April 2025 that the accused was in the vicinity of the deceased on the day of the killing to monitor his movements, that remains an inference until further evidence is discovered. And Alfred, it's important for us to re-emphasize this point because we have always maintained that when it comes to matters of crime, the proof on prosecution is very high. It's one beyond reasonable doubt.
Yeah.
So the kind of evidence you're working with should be the kind that can actually nail an accused person to the offense so alleged.
Because of the threshold where you're dealing with a murder.
Exactly. The office goes on to make an observation that additionally, none of the sketches of the assailants generated by the police, based on the vivid descriptions of eyewitnesses, resemble the accused person. You recall that as part of the processes in this particular matter, some sketches were made based on the descriptions some eyewitnesses gave as to what they saw or who they saw to be the assailants. Now, the Attorney General says that when you look at that none of the sketches match, or none of the sketches they have match the accused person.
Right.
So in that case, they do not think that the evidence they are working with is enough. It continues to say that neither has the investigation established that the accused person was one of the assailants who shot the deceased.
I see.
It continues that although the accused person could be an abettor, there must be adequate evidence to show that he was in the vicinity to abet the murder of the deceased. At this point, the office is not discounting the fact that the accused person could possibly play a role as in being abetting the crime. However, they are saying based on the evidence, it is not enough at this point to indicate that the fact that the phone showed that he was in the vicinity meant that he abetted the murder. On the totality of it, the office says that the evidence presented is therefore not sufficient to charge the accused person with abetment to murder and murder. And these are the charges for which this young man was put before the court, granted bail. I mean, he had been in custody for some time and all. The office now goes on to urge the police to continue with investigation and try to zoom in on the persons who are directly connected or whose actions are directly connected to the incidents. So this is the basis for what we witnessed today, the discontinuance of the case against the accused person in this particular matter, Alfred.
And you hear the lawyer of the now former accused or discharged, Daniel Cranting, he indicates that, and she said that the eyewitnesses should be of interest to how this case progresses. Because if there are sketches of who the eyewitnesses say they saw, which is captured in the Attorney General's advice, then that should be the basis for how this case progresses. But I'm going to come back to you, Dennis. But the most important issue is how the family is dealing with all of this. Dr. Mustafa Idris is the spokesperson for the late Ahmed Suale's family. He's joining us on Zoom right now. Dr. Mustafa Idris, good evening. Thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight.
Good evening, Alfred, and good evening to your viewers.
This certainly must come as a big blow to the family. How's the family dealing with this latest development in court earlier today?
as a matter of fact, anytime somebody loses life, it is a pain to the family. It has been a pain to the family over the years. And all we have been looking for is for the states to be able to get the people who committed this heinous crime. So when somebody gets arrested, and then the family is excited that at the end of the day, at least somebody has been arrested and being prosecuted over this particular issue, then all of a sudden, you hear that the accused person has been left free to go. Definitely, as a family, we're not happy about this development. The family is saddened about this whole development. We do agree that this is not a civil case. It is a criminal case, and criminal cases are being handled by the states. So it behoves on the state to be able to handle this case and handle it in a better way. So if the accused person is let go, definitely the family is not happy about that, and the family is not going to be happy about this development.
The Attorney General was quite clear in the advice that he gave, which my colleague Dennis Paberi Wadam Esquire just went through, and I know you were on listening to him.
Yeah.
To the extent that, one, the fact that this person, the discharged, his phone was said to have been located within the radius of where the incident happened, it's not enough evidence to have him nailed on the issue of murder or on the case of murder, which the threshold for establishing culpability is very high. And then also, most importantly, some of the eyewitnesses who helped in sketching the assailants that they saw indicated that this Daniel Cranting does not match any of the sketches of the assailants whom these eyewitnesses said they saw. So then it begs the question as to why he was even picked up and for the past 6 months and over, he's been going through this process all the while, is it not?
So the eyewitnesses gave vivid descriptions of the people they saw. The police have a forensic audit unit. The police have a unit that is going to sit down and do a sketch. They sketched. What have they done about the sketches? If you had a sketch of an individual and for 6 good years, you have not been able to trace such a person, then it will call your integrity to question. It will call your intelligence to question. You see, and when you are preferring charges for an individual or against an individual, it depends on the charges that you prefer against that person. None of the eyewitnesses indicated that Daniel Cranting was there. It is the police investigations that came out to indicate that his phone was within the radius. We are not accusing him. No, that is not what the family is saying. But it is the police and their own investigations. So if you are investigating a criminal case and you are able to come out to say that such and such a person had his phone, who probably might have worked with the deceased, he had his phone around that particular area, you know the charges you are supposed to prefer against the person. Why do you go ahead to prefer murder case against a person whose phone was around the area? Why do you do that? So if you go and prefer a case against a person, a wrong, case against a person, then you haven't done anything. And you want the family to be happy? No, the family isn't going to be happy. What we are looking for is, the case is with the Ghana Police Service, it is with the states. The individual that was murdered was a state property. Each and every one of us living in Ghana is a state property. And for that matter, when somebody loses his or her life, and it is not a natural disaster, it is not that the person was taken to a hospital and the person died. Even when somebody dies in a hospital and it is as a result of negligence, the state has a stake in it. Mm-hmm. Not to talk of somebody that has been shot dead, cold blood, and then at the end of the day, for 6 good years, it is simply because the young man is not a policeman, was not a policeman. And I can say this with all certainty. If the young man were to be a policeman, a police officer murdered, Ghana Police Service would have found the murderer or murderers. Because they have done it before. And they have done it not once, not twice, not thrice. Don't attempt to deal with their person. So they will find you. But once you are not their person, forget it.
So are you at this point, you're questioning the commitment of the Ghana Police Service in getting to the bottom of this matter 6 years on?
Certainly. You see, Alfred, justice delayed is justice denied. They are denying the family justice. Not just the family, they are denying Ghana justice. For 6 good years, you have the sketches of the persons who possibly were found around that particular area in that night. You have them. And you cannot fish out these persons in Ghana, even if they are outside the country. You don't have contacts with Interpol. Can't they do this?
Okay. So there was actually, and this is also having a question of law in there, so Dennis would answer that. But would you support the call by some criminologists that if there are indeed sketches of the suspected assailants, as was described by the eyewitnesses to the police, at this point, 6 years on, if this suspect or the accused has been discharged, set free, then those sketches should be made public and these persons declared wanted so that the public can help the police? Is it a call that the family would support?
Why not? As I said, if it were to be somebody who has killed the police, by now they would have made public the people that they are suspecting. Why are they keeping it? Why is the police keeping the
sketches?
The sketches of the individuals. Why are they keeping it? So that they are the only people that will go around and look for the persons. Maybe one of them might just be living closer to my house. If I find somebody who looks like that, why wouldn't I report that to the police? So if you are not able as an institution to be everywhere in the country, there are people who can help. Why wouldn't they bring it out? Maybe the person that has been scared is sitting amongst us. And then we talk and we eat together. Just maybe. But if you keep it to yourselves, and you have been looking for those people for the past 6 years, that's a failure. It questions the integrity. It questions the. You see, when they say their motto is service with integrity, where's the integrity here? And where's the service?
Look, I thank you. Maybe in a minute, what is going to be the next step for the family after this?
We are looking at the states.
Okay.
And we'll continue to call on the states to do what is right. We'll continue to call on the states every day, every minute, every hour, every second, every week, every month, every year. We will continue to call on the states to bring out the murderers of our brother.
Okay.
Thank you.
I thank you. I do appreciate your time, and it's a heavy moment, but thank you so much for putting yourself together to talk to us. Dr. Mustafa Idrisu is the spokesperson for the late Ahmed Suale's family, and then it's quite clear the concern you have in there. In fact, we're receiving a lot of messages that if there are these sketches, then the police should make it public, so
Alfred,
the public
it's
can
important
help
for
them.
us
The
to
family
state,
supports that.
It's important for us to state that when we say a person has been discharged, it does not mean that the door has been shut completely. It does not mean that if in the course of investigation there is further evidence to point to this same person, that person cannot be arrested and taken through the course.
Important.
The person has only been discharged. It's not the case of you being acquitted and discharged.
Yeah.
So it's important for us to put in there. But of course, as part of the investigations, I believe if it becomes necessary that the police take that route, they may do so. But they talked about declaring somebody wanted. Who really would they declare wanted? Because you declare somebody wanted by an identity.
True.
These are just sketches of people who may look like that. So they may also have
Look at
to
all of
employ
that.
some diplomacy just so they don't complicate matters for somebody just walking in town, then they will look at you and say, you look like that sketch. Yes, but it's important to state that he has been discharged, not acquitted and discharged. But of course, that's where we are in respect of this particular matter. Investigations continue. Hopefully, the assailants themselves will be arrested and put before the law court.
I do appreciate this. Thank you so much. Janice Pape Wadam Esquire. It's a case that we're following quite closely for good reason. It's a colleague of ours, Ahmed Suale, late, and how things are playing out right now. But coming up next, before we getting there, we're getting information, as I indicated, for the last 45 minutes, almost an hour now, we've been following this fire outbreak on the Spintex Road, and we're going to give you an update right now. This is what we received from eyewitnesses on the ground with this fire outbreak that we're hearing about an hour ago. This is a warehouse. It's a warehouse around the Spintex Road, Ideal Home Decor area, not too far away from the Flower Pot Junction. And with this, we understand is a warehouse. There's no clear indication of exactly what was stored at this warehouse that is in flames or has been raised down by this inferno as we speak. But the Ghana National Fire Service, as at the time we got this eyewitness information and this report, had dispatched 6 fire tenders to the location and are fighting the fire as we speak. And we'll give you some more videos of what we're receiving on the ground. This is what is happening on the Spintex Road, the warehouse there that has been gutted by fire about an hour ago, which caused some scare as well amongst the residents in that area and the business owners as well. We understand the fire service has attended to this fire. We're receiving a lot more videos from the ground and what is happening in there. But this is on the Spintex Road around the Ideal Home area. This is another video we just received as well from eyewitnesses who are watching us right now on Ghana Tonight. And this is a close shot video of what is the remains of this warehouse that has been raised down by this fire a little over an hour ago. And this is what is happening now. We're keeping an eye on how things are playing out in there. Some unfortunate development, but the fire service, we understand 6 fire tenders have been dispatched to the area. This is around the Ideal Decor Home area, close to the Flower Pot Junction on the Spintex Road. This is Ghana Tonight. Coming up next, the NIMOS have been on the crackdown again of illegal mining sites, this time around in the eastern region. We'll give you an update of what is happening right now here on Ghana Tonight. On October 13th, that was yesterday, and the early part of this morning, the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat, that's NIMOS Task Force, carried out a major operation targeting illegal mining activities in the eastern region. The operation focused on two main areas, Oda Nkwanta in the Brim Central Municipality and Akanting. Asamankesi, acting on a tip-off from an informant, the task force first moved to Oda Nkwanta, where they discovered 3 excavators operating at an illegal mining site. That is the information that we have right now. And then also flowing from that, as at the time the team arrived, the miners fled the scene, abandoning personal belongings. 2 excavators at the scene as we speak, and that's what you're seeing in the video right now. And another concealed in a nearby bush. In fact, another excavator was concealed in a nearby bush that was discovered. Our Eastern Regional Correspondent Yvonne Nikwe has been keeping tabs on this development. Yvonne, we're seeing the polluted river in this particular area. Tell us a bit more about this operation of NIMOS earlier today.
Well, Alfred, the NIMOS has begun operations in the Eastern region, as you rightly mentioned. Indeed, they've sent a signal for the operations in the Brim Central today that indeed they'll come at the illegal miners and those mining irresponsible, because for the Eastern region, over 20 districts are having mining issues in those districts, both those mining irresponsibly and those mining illegally. And so for them, they've touched base with Brim Central. They are ready to move to other districts to clamp down on them, because we have lost our water bodies. The Brim River is gone, the Densu is gone, the Pra is gone. As you speak, Chebi treatment plant is gone. It means that over thousands of residents cannot get water in the meantime until stability levels reduce to applicable levels for the Ghana Water Company Limited to resume operation. And so indeed, it's quite a devastating issue we're dealing with. We're hoping that the commitment from NIMOS as they begin this operation will continue to ensure that we're clamped up on them and we don't see them back on the field again when NADMO leaves the region, to ensure that there is sustainability of this exercise for us to, as it were, have our water back and then possibly get our forests back as well.
I see. Now, with the video that we got from you, it shows some of these illegal miners trying to conceal excavators in bushes, and then also now receiving some information ahead of time. A number of them fled this Galamsey site even before the NIMOS people, the NIMOS task force got in there. What does this tell you, especially because this is not the first time you are reporting of the miners running even before the task force gets in there? What's going on?
Well, Alfred, that has been the modus operandi of these miners. They do have a lot of network around the communities. They engage their mining operations on the lorry station, bus stop, everywhere. They know who is entering the community or who is entering the forest for the very first time. And so they quickly get information to move out. Now, what they are doing is that now they don't move out alone. They take out the motorboard out of the excavator. And so you come, the excavator is there, but you cannot move it and you cannot take any other thing out of it. And so we're just hoping that NIMOS will be a step ahead of them. We'll see more arrests, we'll see more prosecution, and we'll see people get into the law courts to be dealt with, so that people will be deterred from these mining issues, because we're not getting it right. We still have the same issues coming at us again, but we need to deal with it very, very well. Otherwise, as we already know, we've lost our forest bodies, we've lost our water bodies, and we keep losing things that we might not be able to get back in the next 5 or 10 years. Otherwise, food security stares at us. Already, we cannot get enough water for the demand that is it. And so it is a very serious issue we're dealing with. We're just hoping that we do get more hours and then 9 months as it is continuing its work, get it done effectively for us not to return back to be speaking about people westering arable lands, forests, cocoa farms, and all of that in the region.
It's an important point to make. And I bring in Richard Kumado, he's a security analyst. Mr. Kumado, so beyond this work that NIMOS is doing, they go to places, crack down, some of them are not arrested, they either get these people dispersed. When they move, after a week or two, we've seen in cases like Abrewa and Inkrine, the illegal miners are back doing their work. So beyond these crackdowns, momentarily, what should be done? What should be their thinking? Quickly.
I think they've taken notice, and when you look at it, there are 4 regions that has come to focus, and they are clearly keeping an eye on them. Eastern region, Ashanti region, Western region, and Central region. One of their strategies is to distract the activities of the Galamseyers and to prevent them from getting back to their places. When resources become fully available to the NIMOS frontliners, I'm very sure they will position a lot more members across strategic zones within these 4 particular regions, whilst they keep an eye on the overflow that comes from the northern part of Ghana. For now, predominantly, they are moving with high levels of anonymous calls and informants. The issue about informants is that they can be productive, but they can also be misleading when some decided to play a double role. And I want to believe that the military officers, particularly in front of the NIMOS frontline, have taken notice of how they will get to the place and inappropriate manners would have left, or they will leave, and in their absence, they get back to the place. They are determined to flush them out. We just have to pray that the appropriate resources are provided to them as quickly as possible. That enables them a lot of mobility and a lot of staying power. If they do not have a staying power, then the works become a little bit difficult for them. So I agree with you. They have to take notice of that, and the strategy will have to be a bit more different.
And I do appreciate your thoughts on this. Thank you so much. Richard Kumado is a security analyst. This is Ghana Tonight. We're back shortly after this quick break. Stay with us. Get into the matters of the Moody's rating, how that also influences the economic progression going forward. Stay with us. Welcome back. This is Ghana Tonight. We're live on 3FM 92.7. Coming up next here on Ghana Tonight, Moody's upgrades Ghana's credit rating. And what does it really mean for the economy and your pocket? That's a conversation coming tonight. And Joe Jackson is going to be joining us. But Ghana's long-term foreign currency debt was upgraded to CAA1 from the CAA2 ratings by the Moody's rating agency. In terms of the outlook, was really changed to stable. This is it, from positive. I'm going to put it on the screen because it tells a story. But then again, what does all of this mean, this particular outlook? And these are the reasons why Moody's upgraded the foreign currency debt from CA1 to CA2. Essentially, what the investors in our bonds are looking at and take into consideration what has been happening over the period with the haircuts they've had to take and the engagements, the agreements that we've had to reach with them, the external creditors, and also how that is impacting on our recovery over the period. Since there's greater macroeconomic stability and favorable external dynamics, that are really supporting more controlled funding cost and foreign exchange reserve replenishment. And we've seen the Bank of Ghana yesterday talking about reserves and how to also show up the value of the city. Now, improved fiscal consolidation, debt restructuring progress is one of the reasons why we got this upgrade. And then also, even though all of these are positives, what does this CAA1 mean? It doesn't necessarily mean that we're out of the woods, because even though we've moved from CAA2 to CAA1, we still have very high credit risk that it's considered. And it's slightly less vulnerable than the CAA2 that we were earlier on. And there's still speculative grade. And here's why I bring in Joe Jackson, is the CEO of Dalex Finance, is a financial analyst. Mr. Jackson, yes, a good upgrade, good development, but then again, taking into consideration all of these risks that still associated with CAA1, is one that you would expect that the managers of the economy would be concerned about, is it not?
This, and what we have to realize is that even though things have improved tremendously since the darkest times when we defaulted in our debt, we've now renegotiated, we've signed off with the creditors, and best of all is the fiscal discipline that we've been showing since the beginning of the year. The fact that we are not spending as much as we could. All that has come together to improve our rating. But guess what? There's still a lot of risk involved. And if you look at the economy of Ghana as if we were a sick person, then we've woken out from the coma. Yet we are still in intensive care. They've taken out the oxygen masks. We are still in intensive care, and we still need regular monitoring, and we cannot take our recovery for granted. So please, let's appreciate the fact that the patient is sitting up and smiling. Let's appreciate the fact that we have been upgraded in our rating, confirming that we are on the right path and we were doing the right thing. But there's still a lot that we must think about. And we have to. My prayer is that those who are managing this economy will keep to the path that they have been for this period, that they will sustain the commitment to fiscal discipline. They will sustain the commitment to increasing our reserves. They will sustain the commitment to entrench our democracy and social stability. If that is done,
and we'll see
this through, and there'll be good times ahead.
Okay. And I do thank you so much for joining us. Joe Jackson is the CEO of Dalex Finance, as well as a financial analyst. I want to say thank you for staying with us here on Ghana Tonight. We're back again tomorrow for another conversation. On behalf of the rest of the team, we do appreciate your company. As always, probably brought to you by Flamingo Paint and Sasso Insecticide Spray and Coil. I'm Alfred Ocansey. Have a good night.
Ghana Tonight.